Thanks so much for joining us here at 5:30. I'm John Adams. We begin with a breaking news in Longview, where 11 people are presumed dead after a chemical tank ruptured at the Nippon Dynawave facility. We've learned in the last hour that 6 of the 9 bodies from the site have been recovered. The bodies will be decontaminated before the coroner will identify them. The Longview Fire Battalion chief spoke about the challenges facing first responders.
We run into electrical hazards, hazardous materials. We have collapse. We talked about the tank and a zone we've created outside of that we feel comfortable working in, so we don't get injured from if there was some other sort of failure. And so we work with subject matter experts, the engineers, for example, to determine buildings are safe that have damage to them for us to access. So we have to go in, videotape, look at those, give those to engineers to say it's safe for us to go inside of those.
Now, we also heard today from Brian Wood, who's the Director of Support Services at Nippon Dynawave. He addressed some safety concerns raised at the facility.
We work in a highly hazardous atmosphere and a highly hazardous industry. We approach it with the utmost care in everything that we do. I'll let the facts speak for themselves.
Well, some of that white liquor chemical from the facility ended up in the river and nearby ditches. Officials confirming again today that there's no concern that drinking water supplies have been impacted. Catherine Cook has a closer look at the potential environmental impacts of this tragedy.
On the Oregon banks of the Columbia River, across from the industrial blast site in Longview, Jason Kent is fishing for steelhead.
Was wondering why nobody was fishing out here.
Like many in the community, he's learning more about the massive implosion that rocked the Nippon Dynawave plant Tuesday morning. Top of mind, the lives lost. But there's also the environmental impact. Plant officials say white liquor, a caustic mix of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide used to make paper pulp, spilled into the plant's storm drains, contaminating local dikes and the Columbia River. They've recovered about a dozen dead carp from the dikes.
Hopefully, I won't be impacted, but that is something to keep in mind.
The Environmental Protection Agency tells us they deployed responders to monitor for potential impacts on local waterways and air quality. They're coordinating with the U.S. Coast Guard and the Washington Department of Ecology.
It bears repeating, those results show no evidence of airborne contamination. We will, of course, continue to monitor over the coming days.
Their focus remains on contaminated water in sloughs and drainage ditches. Crews are flushing impacted water through the Longview ditch system, drawing it away from residential areas and the city's water supply and diluting it to a level that they say can be safely discharged into the Columbia River. For now, a warning for people to steer clear of these ditches and dikes.
The areas that they're speaking of to stay away from currently now are to the north in the industrial way from Washington Way to Prudential.
Back along the Columbia, officials haven't issued any warnings to stay away from the river, but there's clear hesitation from some along the shores.
We'll definitely be showering tonight and we're not letting them get into the water because we don't want to have any more exposure than what they're allowed.
That was our Catherine Cook reporting. During the dilution process, crews will keep testing the water, hoping to see reduced pH levels. If it's not effective, they'll stop pumping and take more steps before starting back up. We'll stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the aftermath of the Longview tank blast as crews work to stabilize the tank and recover the remaining victims. You can find the latest anytime at kgw.com or on our free KGW mobile app. Now to Southeast Portland, where a clothing store is dealing with quite the financial setback after they were vandalized, then broken into in just a few weeks. Jake Holter has the story from Midtowners Market.
Midtowners Market trying to make the best of a tough situation. Their boarded up door here covered in messages of support from the community after their recent break-in.
Entire tray of these rings and an entire tray of rings there.
Megan Collins' store, Midtowners Market, is a vintage consignment shop as well as a hub for local vendors to sell their pieces.
I like to save things so that they have another life. somewhere else instead of it going to a landfill.
But she's had some misfortune as of late.
Haven't really had any issues until this year other than like just minor theft coming in and out.
The store was recently damaged not once, but twice in rapid succession.
Our windows got broken out as well as our neighbors in this entire building, and that was just a disaster. And then 2 weeks later, I got another phone call at 7:30 in the morning from the police and saying that our door had also gotten broken into and that things had actually been taken that time.
She says the thieves took plenty of merchandise and even displays, as well as her computer. Between that and the glass replacement, she's out thousands and thousands of dollars, which is putting a strain on her business.
And in the meantime, we're still having to make payments to our vendors, make payments for rent, make payments for, all of the things that we need to run the business.
She says to recoup costs, she's had to cancel the store's internet, phone line, and automated services.
We're a small business and we're trying to do everything that we can to help support our community. We just need the community's support in turn right now after everything.
But some of her neighbors took the time to put a pretty spin on an ugly situation, turning boarded up windows into murals and writing messages of positivity. Jake Holter, KGW News.
In your consumer headlines this afternoon, the latest report from the Commerce Department showing inflation ticking up last month. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, which is closely watched by the Federal Reserve, increased a seasonally adjusted 0.04% in April. That put the annual inflation rate at 3.8%, largely driven by the increase in gas prices. Core prices, which excluded volatile food and energy costs, rose 0.02% for the month and 3.3% for the year, well above the Fed's 2% target inflation rate. Well, checking in on gas prices today, drivers across the country actually seeing some slight relief. According to AAA, the national average for regular gas ticking down to $4.42 a gallon. That's down 8 cents from 1 week ago. Washington, however, still feeling the pain at $5.74 a gallon, but that is also down 4 cents from 1 week ago. Oregon faring a little bit better, sitting at $5.27 a gallon. Digging into Oregon's numbers a bit deeper, today's prices are down 8 cents from 1 week ago, but still 17 cents higher than 1 month ago and up a whopping $1.25 from this date last year. Well, the dip in gas prices comes on the heels of a breakthrough of sorts in negotiations to end the war with Iran. An Arab official involved in those talks telling NBC News the U.S. and Iran are extending the fragile ceasefire, but the plan hasn't been finalized yet. NBC's Gary Grumbach has more.
Despite trading missile strikes overnight, U.S. and Iranian negotiators have reached an agreement to extend the ceasefire by 60 days and start talks on the future of Iran's nuclear program. That's the word from a senior Arab official involved in the peace talks. The two sides reportedly agreed to the extension on Tuesday, but delayed finalizing and announcing it. It still has to be approved by President Trump.
Again, everything depends on what the president wants to do, and President Trump is not going to make a bad deal for the American people, for the U.S.
One sticking point could be the Abraham Accords, the agreement Trump negotiated in his first term aimed at normalizing relations between Israel and Arab countries. Trump wants all Arab nations to join.
It'll be historic if they do it. And I think they owe that to us, to be honest.
But most Arab nations balking at that idea. Word of this ceasefire extension comes after Iran fired a missile at a U.S. military base in Kuwait. CENTCOM confirming the Kuwaiti military intercepted the missile just hours before President Trump said peace negotiations were going well.
Well, I think we're doing very well. I think starting to give us the things that they have to give us.
The president says he won't be rushed into just any agreement.
I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement.
Despite the impact the war is having on the U.S. economy, with gas prices at their highest point in 4 years, the administration has consistently said prices will go down once the war ends.
As I said, these are short-term challenges that we will get over, and I think we'll move forward.
But today, a new report, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, or PCE, shows prices of goods and services rose again in April, bringing the 12-month inflation rate to 3.8%. That's the highest it's been since May 2023. The Federal Reserve uses the PCE to gauge long-term inflation. This means the central bank will likely keep interest rates the same when it meets again next month. The Fed hasn't cut rates since last year. Gary Grumbach, NBC News, Washington.
Well, still to come here on KGW News at 5:30, the Burnside Bridge is turning 100 years old today. We get a sneak peek behind the scenes with the crews that make sure the bridge's 35,000 daily passengers get to their destinations safely. Matt?
Well, that's pretty cool to see the inside like that. You know what? Our sky is looking pretty cool too. Getting a little bit stormy looking out there. So far, really no raindrops in the metro area. We're at 82 degrees, but eastern Oregon is just seeing lots of storms fire up. A new batch just to the east of Mount Hood, south of the Dalles, and we've got severe thunderstorms in parts of eastern Oregon. We'll track all of this after the break.
Matt, how long is this break in the rain going to last?
About another day, Christine. Again, another atmospheric river hitting the northwest. This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, watch extended coverage on the KGW app.
Want more sunrise? We got you covered.
You can stream an extra 2 hours of live morning news on KGW streaming apps. That means more local stories and extended coverage of breaking news.
What's it looking like out there? We making any progress?
Plus live weather and traffic updates as they happen.
And this is our first trouble spot of the morning.
We have a gorgeous day coming up.
We are live on KGW Sunrise, weekday mornings from 5 to 9. Stream on your time with KGW.
Welcome back. A fixture of the Rose City is turning 100 years old today. The Burnside Bridge opened on this date in 1926. Today, I was able to take a look inside the iconic structure to find out how it has remained a critical part of Portland. Inside this door and up a spiral staircase, we find the area where operators control the Burnside Bridge.
It is a little tight, but you get used to it. It's cozy.
For 100 years, operators like Jennifer Dubin have monitored traffic on the bridge and lifted it when necessary.
If we're doing a lift, then we're looking around the towers and to make sure everything is clear.
Dubin tells us it takes about 6 to 8 minutes to open and close the bridge for marine traffic. On its surface, about 35,000 travelers per day use the Burnside to cross the Willamette River.
It would be hard for the city to function without this bridge.
John Hendrickson has been working on the Burnside Bridge for over 3 decades. He tells us the bridge has needed more care as it ages, which often leads to challenges for crews.
You're going to have to figure out how to replace things that someone built 100 years ago, using techniques that we're not using anymore.
He adds the bridge itself has undergone a number of changes in the past century.
When the bridge was built, it had a streetcar on it, so it had electrical lines down the center of it, big poles that are no longer there. It had trolley cars going back and forth that were electrified. It had 6 lanes of traffic.
Over the years, it has been modified to add bike lanes and a dedicated bus lane. Henriksen also redesigned the bridge's control system, making it digital.
Taking care of the bridge, making sure it's functioning, and then the more that you do that, the more you feel like, I'm a part of this bridge. I'm a part of its life.
Henriksen says Multnomah County crews take great pride in working on the bridge and hope to have it last for years to come.
It was built very well, and then we've taken very good care of it.
Well, Matt, when I was out there earlier today, beautiful blue skies, but the clouds rolling in now.
It has really changed. The sky is looking quite menacing, if you will. Look at that.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's a lot different than earlier today.
Exactly, yeah, but I really don't think we'll get any thunderstorms here on the west side, but these clouds are building with the heating of the day, and we heated up to 82, 83 degrees in Portland, which is where we are right now. Okay, we've got thunderstorms forming all over eastern Oregon, and now approaching Mount Hood. You can see they're moving. These are actually moving west, even a little bit southwest, south of the Dalles, east of Mount Hood. So this is going to hit Highway 26 between Mount Hood and Warm Springs. In the next 25 minutes or so, these storms are moving at roughly about 25 miles an hour. This map shows, and this is all Doppler radar generated, this shows the tops of these thunderstorm clouds, and we see the red here. Look how tall these are getting. These are upwards of 48, 49,000 feet. We hardly ever see this in Oregon. This is more typical of what we get in the Midwest with big thunderstorms there. And then that other cell that's developing just near Mount Hood right now, that one also up to 43,000 feet. So again, it's just an indication as to how strong these storms are. And you can see the clouds just bubbling upwards as we get this really strong updrafts with these storms just pushing the clouds up. Now, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning down near Service Creek. The storms are moving to the northwest, like I said, about 25 miles an hour. But radar has indicated that they are producing incredible rainfall rates, like upwards of several inches an hour, and potentially hail, 2-inch diameter hail. That's like golf ball size. That will do damage. So if you're in the path of these storms in eastern Oregon, you really need to be on the lookout for this. If you hear thunder and lightning, this is not our typical summertime thunderstorm. These are much stronger than that. And 2-inch diameter hail, that would damage your roof, your car, all of that. I think a golf ball diameter is 1.75 inches, so this is even bigger than that. Severe thunderstorm watch for all of eastern Oregon, some areas until midnight. For Hood River County till about 8 o'clock tonight, because the storms should begin to weaken as we get farther west during the evening hours. There's our high today, 83 in Portland. In fact, that's some of the warmest weather in the state. Pendleton made 87 and LeGrand 85. So you can see all this activity spinning northward around an area of low pressure. It's down around Sacramento, basically. We're getting the return flow out of the east to the west, which is why we're seeing the storm movement that we are. See the skinny line of cloud right here? That's the thing that's going to bring us rain on the west side as a weak cold front pushes in. These two are we're in a squeeze play between the two of them, but the one to the east is the really strong one. You can see the storms rolling into the Hood River, the Dalles area tonight, then they weaken, and here comes the rain from the west for us tomorrow morning. So a little bit of rain, but it just looks really interesting right now for sure, 82 degrees in Portland. We will see showers in the morning and even late tonight. And then early showers tomorrow and much cooler tomorrow. To be in the 80s today, we top out in the 60s tomorrow. 68 on Saturday, clouds and sun, but Sunday looks beautiful, sunny and 73. We'll begin June, John, with 80-degree weather.
All right, a little bit of everything on that 7-day. Matt, thanks so much.
You bet.
All right, after the break, as first responders across the country grapple with budget deficits, cuts, and the need to keep equipment up to date, one man believes the solution relies on creating a second-hand market.
Hi, I'm Christine Padawanich. I'm a journalist at KGW, and I love exploring Portland's amazing food scene. New spot? I'm there. So I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. What happens here affects us all, and that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still, it moves. It moves you to act, to vote, to volunteer, to speak up, or to lend a hand. It moves your mind by challenging assumptions and offering new perspectives. It moves you forward by giving you the information to make decisions and thrive where you live. And yes, it moves your heart through the good stuff that stays with you wherever you are. And at KGW, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Portland.
Welcome back. A new business is looking to help fire departments across the country buy and sell life-saving equipment faster and cheaper than buying brand new. Tim Furlong has a closer look.
Newark, Delaware's Aetna Hose, Hook, and Ladder Company runs on about 14,000 fire and EMT calls every year, and they constantly need vehicle and apparatus upgrades. They aren't cheap, and they don't get there quickly.
We're buying a new truck right now that's 14 months. We'll have it in July. It's $850,000. We have a ladder truck that's on order. It's 4 years. We'll get it in 2028. That's over $2 million.
Yeah. That's where Martin's growing 3-year-old company comes in. This former Hockessin firefighter started Garage, where fire departments can buy and sell used equipment online.
The used market is a way for people to get access to assets instantly. They can get things delivered same week. And they can also get them for a fraction of the cost that it would cost to buy one new.
So say you're a big fire company and you're lucky enough to be able to buy a big, brand new, beautiful fire truck. Well, there are thousands of smaller departments across the entire country that would love to get their hands on one of your well-maintained hand-me-downs at a fair price. Martin is 27 years old and now has a team of 30 people under him at his New York City headquarters. The business is now growing very quickly.
We have at least one piece of fire apparatus selling on the platform every single day, 365 days a year.
I met up with Martin at the fire company that gave him his start. He's excited to help this and any other American fire department that needs gear upgrades on a tight budget. His mom says he caught the fire bug back in high school and has seen the financial struggles of fire companies up close.
So he just kind of was super passionate about it. So when other kids were doing other things, he was going on calls and riding ambulances and riding fire trucks. And so I think when passion drives what you're doing, that's the key.
We just listed a few apparatus on there. We're hoping to sell soon.
Yeah, this department that serves a big piece of Delaware is now using Garage, and every day more and more other American fire companies are too. A success story with Delaware roots now trying to make the rest of the country safer as well.
Still ahead on the show, a local psychologist spotlights how communities cope with large-scale disasters as the recovery efforts in Longview continue.
KGW Sunrise keeps you prepared for whatever the day brings, working overnight to get you the latest breaking news.
We are following breaking news right now in Northwest Portland.
Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson, who's live at the scene.
Stay ahead of the storm with weather impact alert days.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
This is our first trouble spot of the morning.
Start with a team you trust on KGW Sunrise, weekdays starting at 5 a.m. Stream the KGW app now on your phone or TV for free.
I'm Trina Green, morning anchor at KGW and new dog mom to this sweet guy. Meet Barry. I love getting your mornings off to a great start, whether it's sharing stories of resilience and triumph in our community, or following breaking news from Beaverton to Gresham and everywhere in between. We've got you covered, because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to KGW Sunrise, weekday mornings from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Welcome back. We're continuing to follow the impact of the chemical tank rupture in Longview. And it's clear the grief runs deep, and for many, the uncertainty about what happened and why makes it all even harder. Tim Gordon spoke with a psychologist about how communities cope in the wake of tragedy like this.
Sometimes when we're left with not knowing what to do, we want to do something. And gathering as a group, gathering as a community is one of the first things we can do. And it serves a lot of purposes. You know, psychologically, it helps the people who are directly impacted by the situation. It helps them know that they're not alone.
In Longview, that's already happening.
reader boards, meal trains, GoFundMe pages, a community showing up for its own. But Dr. Cindy Huang says knowing how to help isn't always easy.
I think one thing that I always advise people think about if they're supporting people who are directly impacted, is to ask the people who are impacted what they may need as the process continues, right? Because their grief will continue in ways that might be uncertain and will not be the same for each person.
And in the absence of answers, Huang says that waiting has a weight of its own.
With a sudden tragedy like this, it's not predictable, it's unexpected, and with the answers that are unknown, it can really edge up I think the thing that comes to my mind is hypervigilance, where you are watching, waiting, and that anticipation that, adds to the uncertainty that can really have impact on anybody in that community.
Her message to Longview.
I hope that everybody is there and looking for the ways that they can support their loved ones, but also take care of themselves. And I encourage everyone to really think about what taking care of yourself might look like. For many, it is gathering to support as a community and to support individual people. For some people, if that isn't what you're able to give at the moment, that's also okay. And so to take that space and give in a way that you feel like you can and be for your community.
That was Tim Gordon reporting. You can watch the full conversation tonight at 7 only on Straight Talk. And stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the chemical tank blast in Longview. KGW News at 6 is right around the corner. David Molko and Matt Zaffino will be back for more local news headlines and weather. We're going to leave you for now at 5:30 with a live look as clouds continue to roll in over the Rose City.